Ira, second row on your right.
How did Jalen and Andre do in that start in that situation?
Yeah, I thought in the beginning they showed some improvement, with Jalen going to guard full time, and I thought early in the game we missed one on the outside zone on the first drive that he missed an ID call on, but I thought after that he settled down in the run game and did a better job in that aspect. I think the improvement has to come in the critical situations. We had a third and I think a fourth and short or a third and short that we didn't convert. They shifted to a 3-down front and twisted, and I think he missed the reaction on the nose twisting on that one. We got to do a better job on that. And also the end of the game situation when there's obvious pass of going back to understanding how to take the sets and how to, be in better protection and obvious pass, Hail Mary situation, long yardage, chunk plays, and things of that nature, which were their first time in those situations. So we got to make sure we're improving on that and what to do in those situations. And they may know it, but being in it gives a little bit of experience more, and their faces and things of it becomes more real once you're in those moments. So expect to see much improvement on that as well.
Some of the better numbers you guys have had in the run game this year. I guess what was working effectively different than maybe previously?
Yeah, the defense we faced was a really good defense. I think that backs did a good job of seeing it. We're consistent and more, with the scheme that we use to be able to take advantage of some things that they gave us. And I thought, they ran hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't go down on first contact, was able to get through arm tackles and kind of get those yards after the contact, yards after the first line of scrimmage. So I thought that was an improvement, and I thought, we got to build upon that and kind of keep it going and make sure we're showing some improvement as we keep going. But I thought the guards, helped in that situation with the guys we got in there. I threw Ferg in there for about 18 plays, which, kind of calmed Otto down on one-up plays. But I thought over the standpoint of it, they did a better job of communication, IDs, back to the good job of yard at the contact, and also, the edge blocking with the tight ends was improved, So when those things keep continually improving with the young tight ends on the edges, with the guard play on the inside, and with the back seeing and understanding the scheme, we should see better production out of it as we're moving forward.
All right, we'll go second row to your right, Liam.
Following up on the run game, do you feel like Brock's legs, and even in times we saw Luke get out of the pocket, do you feel like that kind of gave you guys a different element to attack?
Yeah, there's always going to have the scramble element when you got a guy that can kind of, if they cover downfield or, might feel a little bit of pressure and escape, part of the game. But, yeah, absolutely. That does assist it. But I thought, it assisted numbers in that standpoint. But also just his awareness, I think, Brock and Luke did a good job of, hey, they might cover downfield or find that seam to kind of get out of there and keep plays alive, but also keeping that balance of keeping their eyes downfield just in case they got to hit a receiver as well. So, but yeah, it does assist in run game, especially in numbers when you add up those deals, but you also got to be in protection as a whole piece because that takes away from some of the numbers too with negative yards plays. So we just got to make sure we continue to build on that. But yeah, absolutely.
All right, stay over there for Ira.
Okay. Guys wouldn't get to Florida State if they couldn't catch the football as receivers or skill players. Mm-hmm. When what's happening has been happening for this whole season, how, I guess, difficult is that for just their relationships with the entire team? Just how is everybody handling that? Because they're, it's so isolated when those plays happen. Other guys can make mistakes, but when you make a mistake out in the wide open like that, how's that getting through that, I guess?
Yeah, a lot of it, and I told the offense this when I met with them, a lot of this, I took the heat of it because I have to make sure that whatever the problem is, whatever the ball is, maybe over-shoulder catch, underneath, flipping the hands, whatever it is, I got to make sure that they do it so much that they can't mess it up to build the confidence, but also challenge them on, once you know it, sometimes you can overdo it and overthink and overprocess and overpress, like, oh, I got to catch it, and then now you overthink it instead of doing what you naturally can do. So you have to find that balance of repetitive work at it to make sure the balls that they're dropping, they're in those situations every day, whether it be deep ball threats, whether we're practicing inside, outside, whatever the element may be, maybe be dark, light, under the lights, whatever it is, to make sure they're putting them in those situations, but also them in the ownership of working it, but not over-pressing and over-processing. Just like, with kickers, what Fitz went through it, with snappers, with quarterback throwing bubble screens, like the simple parts of your game, don't overpress it. Just make sure we're working it and addressing it. But no, I agree. I mean, I've seen guys who made plays before having these issues, and we got to make sure we find a way to bring them out of it, and we got to coach them out of it. You know, we got to make sure we're giving them the opportunity to be able to come through adversity, but it also creates opportunities because, you know, every game is not a tryout. So we got to make sure we're putting those guys in it that's consistently doing it, creating the opportunities, and it also gives a chance for those guys. If you can go out there and operate, it gives you an opportunity to go out there and do it. But also, man, nobody loves, I mean, the stories of guys who can and then be able to come and the overcome is also a part of these young men that we're building up as well.
Coach Norvell seemed encouraged by what he saw from Luke in his first game action. I guess, how do you evaluate that? And I guess, what's it say about Brock to have the first half he did, to go to Luke for a while, for then him to come in, and it felt like he kind of gave the offense a bit of a chance there in the fourth quarter with how he was running things?
Yeah, they're both going through their process of learning how to be build into elite quarterbacks at this level of college football, which sometimes comes with a little bit of growing pain, a little bit of experience, a little bit of negatives, and you know, and it builds the resilience that you need to be able to play the position. You know, it's not many of them that come out the gate fresh out, you know, freshman year and come out there and, you know, kill it. You know, they have to go through some woes and pains and learn how to respond, and then, you know, take the successes and take the adverse situations and be able to learn from it and grow from it as they keep building through their characters and their careers. But Brock is tough, man. You know, even I watch how Tony coaches him, and he coaches him hard, coaches him like a linebacker, both of those guys. You know, Luke plays safety. I mean, he coaches him hard. A lot of times you hear guys say, you got to be passive to those quarterbacks. I mean, he attacks them pretty good, and they respond to it, and I think that's what built them for those moments where you have a deal where you turn the ball over like that, but then you still bounce back. But it also shows confidence in the players, man. We lose sight that sometimes, you know, they're going to have that. Our job is to get it correct and still build confidence for them to continue forward with their careers and learn from the lessons that you get. You don't know why you got to go through, but sometimes you got to go through so you can get through, so we can build you for later.
We'll go to Jordan, third row on your left.
Coach, following up on that, by pulling both quarterbacks in the middle of the game, especially Brock off of the 3 turnovers, were you worried because they're so young in their careers that you could ruin their confidence because they're coached up hard, like, you know, to be able to respond and bounce back?
It's all about the conversations you have beforehand and in the moment. You know, as long as you're not surprising them. There wasn't like a surprise moment. Oh, surprise, nah, those conversations were had during, before, so there was an understanding of level of what we needed to see and what needed to happen and what could happen based upon later in the game once we did make the decision to make the change. So there's no surprises of it. I thought Luke get in there and he threw a couple good balls and you know, saw it. I thought, you know, at times he was kind of hesitant, and I think Brock, once he came down and kind of saw it from a different perspective, it helped him a little bit too to calm down and things of that nature. But I mean, we know moving forward, you know, Brock's gonna run out there first, but there's also a competition evaluation a part of it. But we trust them, you know what I mean? But sometimes you got to, you know, kind of calm them down and what are you seeing? What's different? And it could be a lot of coaching too, because we might be game planning for certain things. They can be a little bit different and they're not responding to it or reacting as fast. So we got to take accountability in that as well. So we got to make sure whatever they're seeing, they've seen before and they understand what it is, and we're explaining it clearly and communicating to build the confidence in, and just throwing them out there and, you know, hey, what'd you see? Without any anticipation. So we got to build that anticipation with the game plan as well.
All right, next will be Brendan, front row on your left. How is Lucas Simmons progressing? Is he someone who could work his way into the rotation this year, or is it still early on in his development?
Yeah, Lucas is going into his first full deal because of what he went through last year, and then set to about October, November. So he's about right hitting that year mark. He's down there with us. He's not on scout team. He's taking reps in their rotation with the one group. So, you know, opportunity is going to come. It's going to come rather quickly. I've been pleased with the steps he's taken. I'm challenging more of like those big, long, thick guys and physicality in the run game. I think he's showing those steps in it as his body develops into it. A little bit of minor setback with his elbow, but I think he's kind of found his way. So I'm looking forward to taking him. He knows we've had the conversations one-on-one about the need for him and what it's going to come to. But I also have to, we talk about the confidence issue. I mean, I got to make sure I'm preparing him to go out there and have the moment he needs to have, because you can also, you talk about killing young quarterbacks, you can kill young tackles. You know, so it has to be done the correct way, and he has to showcase his ability to do it at a consistent level and not just, you know, freestyle this thing. But I'm pleased with where Lucas, the steps he's taking, because he is down there with us, repping the game plan, understanding the game plan. He's on the field goal team, so he's getting a little bit of live action and contact. So, you know, as he's taking those big steps we need, I think, you know, he's going to help us in the future.
Go back to Ira on your right.
I think Coach Norvell said that some of the problems with the sacks were quarterbacks may hold the ball too long. Are there things that you guys can do to help them from a scheme standpoint to get the ball out of their hands quicker as opposed to just expecting them to see it and read it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we do studies on, you know, time to pressure and averages for the defense that we playing. Ours was good compared to the opponents they had played in the previous deal with time to snap the throw. But there's also some times where guys got beat. You know, I've talked about the young guards late in the game where they're in a one-on-one situation and you just get beat. There's also times when the quarterback has to understand the protection. One time they brought two to the back. There was one unclaimed, so he has to see the pitches of the rotations to be able to do it. And also, like you said, the coverage changes. We might have anticipated a type of coverage in that play that they gave something different, and it caused a little bit of hesitation. So the ownership in sacks is always going to be up front. I mean, I'm going to take accountability for every sack, no matter what happens with a back, quarterback, or whatever. It's always going to be on the offensive line because we are deemed the first line of protection, but also his understanding of it are making sure we give him the check downs of understanding where the check downs are based on what coverage he's getting, and, you know, just constantly giving those reps that they're going to see, which is a part of growing in that process because we can come out here and work it all Monday through Friday. It can be something totally different on third down. We got to make sure we're putting him in position where that can happen in practice as well. What we might say it, and throw something different on him to see how he reacts and build that confidence as well. So I think it's all encompassed and starts with us as coaches to making sure we're building the confidence in if they see something different or if they are holding the ball too long. So everything that happens out there is always going to be a responsibility of me, the coaches, and everybody, but also getting them through that process so we can correct the mistakes that we're seeing. So Luke's first action might have been holding a little bit too long. Now I'm interested to see what it's going to be the next time he goes out there if he learned those lessons from those mistakes.
All right, good. Okay. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Bye, Gord.